Now brace your ears for a second because I'm about to go full old head on some of you. But back in the day, there used to be such a bigger appreciation for the do-it-all, dirty work, go out there and give it all type of player in the NBA. And now don't get me wrong, I'm just as big of a part of the we not messing with the 90s group as anyone. But I can also say I'm disappointed that in the era of the NBA that we are now in, the era I like to call the softest Charmin era, the greater NBA discourse and recognition system is a lot more geared towards highlights and flashy plays. And because of this, it's caused that type of player to become kind of like a dying breed in this league. But while there's very few of them left, there is one player still in the NBA that exemplifies this description to a T. One of the most menacing, physically and mentally imposing, not gonna take no bullshit from nobody players we still have in the NBA. And this reputation has caused him to get one of the most menacing nicknames we've ever heard in the NBA. Beef Stew. Ugh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But before we get into this video, if you guys enjoy watching elite defensive players in the NBA, you have to like the video. But if you guys enjoy watching elite offensive players, then you have to subscribe. It's just the rules. I don't make them, I just enforce them. Also, make sure to comment down below your favorite, do-it-all, dirty work type player still in the NBA. There's very few of them now. So if you're able to give me a good answer, I'll know that you're an elite ball knower. With that being said, let's talk hoops. Now, night after night, Isaiah Stewart guards the giants. He guards the scorers. He guards the guards who think they're too fast. And he guards the bigs who think they're too strong. And he does it without complaining, without flopping, without begging for whistles, because that is how defense is supposed to be played. And I might even go so far to say that he is the best defender in the league, and nobody knows it still. Because recognition from the fans isn't awarded for the dirty work. It's awarded for the loud work. But the other night against the Bulls, Isaiah Stewart got loud. A few nights ago in a game against the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons were severely undermanned, missing their best two players in Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren, and also missing another key starter in Tobias Harris. The Pistons needed somebody to step up, and Beef Stew was that guy to step up. He ended up scoring his career high in 31 points, shooting 14 of 17 from the field. He also had 2 blocks and 1 steal. Now, if you're a true ball knower, then you would have already known that Isaiah Stewart is an elite defensive talent in the NBA already. But I think very few of us expected him to be able to put on an offensive showcase like this. Not only did he hold it down on defense, but he also showed dominant interior scoring in that game against the Bulls. And honestly, kind of made Nikola Vucevic look like his little baby brother. And because of that play, the very shorthanded Pistons were able to get the dub against a 500 or so Chicago Bulls team. They're no slouch. And now I know I just spent the last couple minutes glazing Isaiah Stewart's offensive ability in that game, but that is not what makes Isaiah Stewart special. He has been one of the best, if not the best, interior defensive big in the league for a couple years now, and nobody talks about it. Now, when you think of like an elite interior center, like you think of like a Rudy Gobert, someone who is slow-footed as all get out on the perimeter. But the thing that makes Beef Stew so elite on defense is he can guard 1 through 5. There are so many possessions that you will watch where he gets in a pick and roll action and has to switch on to the guard. The guard thinks they got barbecue chicken, and he says, no, you're not invited to the barbecue today. His ability to impose bigger defenders while also being light-footed enough to keep up with super fast and shifty guards is what makes him so elite on defense. And even when he's not out there, getting like 3 blocks, 4 blocks in a game, he's still elite at verticality, and his contest frequency is one of the highest in the leagues. Dude will jump at everything. And unfortunately, I think that's one of the reasons why Isaiah Stewart still gets a bad rap, is because he is not scared to jump with some of the best dunkers in the league. And while if you watch a lot of Detroit Pistons basketball, you know that I would say 90% of the time he is getting a block on these elite dunkers. But the other 10% of the time, he's getting dunked on. When you contest every single shot in the lane, you're bound to get dunked on. But those posterizers are the only thing that ever makes it to the House of Highlights or, the Bleacher Report posts on Twitter that you see. And that causes the greater NBA fan base to only ever see Isaiah Stewart getting dunked on. And that's one of the things that I hate about the NBA nowadays is it's so highlight driven right now. And a player could, score 10 points and shoot 25% from the field in a game. But hey, if on 2 of those baskets, he posterized one person and broke somebody's ankles in the next one, everybody just sees the highlights and thinks, oh my God, this guy is tearing it up right now. But there's a bigger reason why Isaiah Stewart is still vastly underrated by the general NBA fan base. And unfortunately, it comes down to a technicality that was introduced into the NBA a handful of years ago. A technicality that I don't think I've heard any single NBA fan be in favor of or be happy that it's a part of the league now. And that technicality is the new guidelines when it comes to end of season awards. For a player to be eligible in end of season awards for the NBA nowadays, you have to have played in at least 65 regular season games. But the playing in at least 65 regular season games isn't even the issue for Isaiah Stewart. It's a little tiny technicality in what counts as a game played. And it's that a player must log at least 20 minutes of action in a game for it to count. In last year's NBA season, Isaiah Stewart averaged 1.4 blocks per game coming off the bench. Now, there were a lot of starting centers in the NBA last year that didn't even average 1.4 blocks. So being able to average that in the small sample size that he got every night is elite in itself. And along with the 1.4 blocks per game, he had one of the best defensive field goal percentages in the entire league. But the problem was last season, Isaiah Stewart averaged only 19.9 minutes per game. And so on average, he wasn't playing enough in order to be eligible for these games to count, which caused him throughout the year and at the end of the year to be completely overshadowed in Defensive Player of the Year talks and all defensive team talks. And unfortunately, his elite defensive talent kind of just got pushed to the wayside because he wasn't even eligible. So if you're not eligible, why would anybody talk about you when it comes to Defensive Player of the Year or all defensive teams? And now it seems like this season, Isaiah Stewart has come in with a mission. Because if you thought he looked amazing last season, he looks even better than amazing, if that's even possible, this season. Still coming off the bench, Isaiah Stewart, as of right now, is averaging 2.1 blocks per game. That right now is good enough for third in the league, in front of some elite defensive big man that start in Chet Holmgren and Evan Mobley, and just a little bit behind a very promising up-and-coming defensive player in Alex Sarr at 2.3 blocks per game. But it doesn't just stop there. As of a couple weeks ago, Isaiah Stewart also had a 44.5% defensive field goal percentage at the rim, best in the NBA, 9.9 contested field goals attempted, which is 5th in the NBA, a 110.6 defensive rating, which if you don't know is better than 28 other NBA teams. Only 2 NBA teams have a better team defensive rating than Isaiah Stewart's individual defensive rating, and a block percentage of 8%. He is outperforming other defensive big men in the stats categories while also playing a less sample size than most of them. But the best part about it is this season, Isaiah Stewart's minutes per game is up to almost 24 minutes per game. And so there is a very good chance, and I'm very hopeful, that Isaiah Stewart will have been able to play enough games to be eligible for the end of year awards. And if that's the case, I think at the end of the year, a wide majority of NBA fans are going to start knowing the name of Isaiah Stewart and how good he is on defense. But as of right now, he's still, in my opinion, incredibly underrated because he doesn't put up the elite flashy stats that everybody just likes to look at a glance and then go on about their day. You know, he does play on the best team in the East, but he's still overshadowed by players like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson. But I'm telling you right now to keep an eye on Isaiah Stewart, because at the end of the year, if he is eligible for these awards, he has a very good chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year. And so while all your casual NBA fan friends can be like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? You can be like, yeah, I actually knew Isaiah Stewart was this good because I watched this video. And you can impress them and they can be like, oh my God, bro, you know so much about the NBA. But it's very obvious that, you know, this Bulls game was kind of a turning point for Isaiah Stewart, just taking another step into cementing that he is an elite big man in the NBA and he deserves that respect. Isaiah Stewart is the Detroit Pistons heartbeat and is by far their best defender on the team. And after the night that he had against the Chicago Bulls, it is very obvious that NBA fans need to start paying more attention to Beef Stew. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video. It was funny because like a week ago, my dad texted me and he was like, hey, why do you never make any videos about, you know, Pistons? Because, you know, I am a diehard Pistons fan. I have been my whole life. But, you know, on the channel, I try to keep it as not biased as possible. So I'm like, Dad, you know, I can't just be glazing the Pistons constantly. But after the night that Isaiah Stewart had, and after the season that he is having defensively, I genuinely, no bias, think that he needs so much more recognition as a defender in the league and needs to start being recognized as a top 3, if not the best defensive big man that we have today in the NBA. But again, if you guys have made it this far in the video, first off, thank you guys so much for watching. But second of all, you obviously enjoyed this video. You obviously are going to enjoy my content. So just make it official and hit that subscribe button. And also, if you guys did enjoy this video and you are now on the Beef Stew bandwagon, you have to hit that like button. But if you guys were already on the Beef Stew bandwagon before watching this video, make sure to drop that in the comments and I will officially know that you are an elite ball knower. And lastly, if you guys want to see any more of my content, YouTube actually thinks you'll really like this video right here. So once this video wraps up, make sure to go click on that and check that video out right there. You'll probably like it just as much, if not more, than this video. But with that being said, guys, as always, peace and love.